Information. Alongside Honorable William Giddings, Minister of Public Works, and Anthony Domba Norris, Deputy Director General for Planning, Research and Development of the Liberia National Tourism Authority. Honorable Pia will speak to a number of issues of national concerns and provide updates on key government initiatives, while Honorable Giddings will provide an overview of Liberia's infrastructure achievements, perspectives and challenges, while also Honorable Norris will provide detailed explanation on the awareness of LNTA campaign and roadshow tourism businesses, registration and compliance, and the process of registration in the sector. So we're taking still also as a bring full updates of the press briefing. Keep following. So that's the arrival of Honorable Jerome Pia alongside Honorable Roland Giddings, our Ministers of Public Works. So we'll take this still as a bring you full updates of this press briefing.
Thank you very much.
So welcome statement will be done by Honorable Daniel Otosano. Honorable Sano is the Deputy Minister for Press and Public Affairs. Also now the conference will be held in the Charles William Conference Hall of the Ministry of Information. Keep following.
Police and our radio listeners, television viewers, and throughout the globe, we'd like to welcome you to the Republic Charles William Press Hall here at the Ministry of Information. I'd like to invite the Deputy Minister for Press and Public Affairs, Daniel Sando, who will make some introductory comments, after which we will officially invite our guests on the national podium. Mr. Sando.
So that the voice of the acting 60 Minister for Information Services. Lawrence family, this is
Thank you,
Daniel Sano.
Acting Minister Family, for laying down the protocols for this press briefing. We want to welcome all of you in Radio Land, including those who are following via social media on the radio stations. We welcome you to this edition of the Ministry of Information regular press briefing. We also want to use this medium to formally welcome to the Ministry of Information, Charles William Conference Room, the man who is leading the President's infrastructure draft, no other but the distinguished Minister of Public Works, Honorable William Giddings. Mr. Giddings, I want to welcome you and your delegation from the Ministry of Public Works. Mr. Giddings here, of course, we announced last week he's coming here to talk about ongoing road construction works across the country, new agreements that are being concluded between the government of Liberia and other private actors to open up new corridors across the country. So today we'll have Mr. Giddings here. There are some of you who have also been concerned about some road corridors in Moswara County. You've been asking us. Today the Minister of Public Works is here. So I hope we can make proper use of this opportunity to make your inquiries to the Honorable Minister. We also have one of our own, Anthony Domba Norris. He is the Deputy Director General of Research and Planning at the Liberia National Tourism Authority. We come here to talk about some initiative that our new entity of government is involved with. They are embarking on what we call a roadshow So we come to talk about all of these activities following Mr. Gaines' presentation. Anthony Norris will mount the podium and speak to you. But before we listen to the Minister with the authorization of Minister Pia, I just want to speak on a number of issues as a matter of tradition before we introduce some comments from our guests. The government of Liberia, with endorsement from the Netherlands Challenge Corporation, the MCC, and approval of His Excellency the President, has appointed Mr. Ali Kouanye as National Coordinator to lead the development of Liberia's second MCC contract. Mr. Yen was selected through a rigorous and competitive recruitment process jointly conducted by the government of Liberia and the Netherlands Challenge Corporation, involving technical assessment, structural interviews, and comprehensive background and professional evaluation. As National Coordinator, Mr. Yen will lead Liberia's compact development efforts, support evidence-based policy analysis, and ensure effective collaboration between national stakeholders and the MCC. He will play a key role in designing strategic investment to foster sustainable economic growth, strengthen institutional capacity, and enhance livelihoods across Liberia. Mr. Yen brings to the position over 15 years of experience in macroeconomics management, energy regulation, and public financial reform. He previously served as Assistant Minister for Fiscal Affairs at the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, and under Liberia's first MCC compact, led regulatory economics at the Liberia Electricity Regulatory Commission. He has also consulted for the Collaborative African Budget Reform Initiative, the CABRR, coaching reform teams in Liberia, Sierra Leone, and the Gambia. Since 2003, he served on the International Advisory Group on Public Finance established ODI Global. Mr. Yen holds an MPA in Economic Policy Management from the Columbia University and an MSc in International Finance and Economic Development from the leading university. His advanced training includes executive programs at Harvard Kennedy School, London School of Economics, and the Carnegie Institute, among others. The Ministry of Finance and Development Planning reaffirms its commitment to an inclusive and transparent compact development process aligned with Liberia's national development goals and the pursuit of sustainable economic transformation. You are already aware that the chairperson of the National Elections Commission announced plans to retire or step down from that position on the 15th of March. Of course, that letter was sent to His Excellency, the President. The President has accepted the resignation of the next chairperson, has also requested that she postpone in continuity until March 31st. So So the President acknowledged her resignation, the resignation of Honorable David Ethel Lassaman Brown as Chairperson of the National Election Commission. In her resignation letter, Honorable Brown Lassaman cited her decision to step down after over 12 years of distinguished service, first as Commissioner and subsequently as Chairperson, following consultation with the family. She expressed appreciation for the opportunity to serve and noted her commitment to ensuring a smooth institutional transition. The President, His Excellency Joseph Nwabwaka, commended Honorable David Ethel Brown Lassaman for her exemplary leadership and dedication, highlighting her pivotal role in strengthening Liberia's electoral framework and reinforcing credibility and integrity of the nation's democratic process. While accepting her resignation, the President has requested that she continue to oversee the next affairs through March 31st, 2026, to ensure a seamless and orderly transition in accordance with the Constitution and relevant statute. The President will initiate the process to nominate a successor. The President extended his sincere gratitude to Madam David Ethel Lassaman Brown for her invaluable service to the Republic and wish her success in her future endeavors. The government, the LRA non-profit division, is actively implementing a nationwide tax compliance training program targeting key county-level stakeholders. The training, which is intended to equip county finance procurement officers, accounting, education and health finance officers, and county council representatives with practical knowledge on withholding tax application, timely remittance, revenue protection in line with the Revenue Code of Liberia. The exercise focuses specifically on withholding tax regime relating to payments from the county's development and social development funds, as well as allocation for county health and education officers. The initiative is a strategic step towards strengthening tax compliance, enhancing domestic revenue mobilization, and promoting transparency and accountability in public financial management at all levels. On the first phase of the project, 2 technical teams are conducting simultaneous hands-on sections across 6 counties, targeting Rivers, Grand Bassa, Magui, Bond, and Lofa counties. The LRA has also begun official conversation on the commencement of real property revenue sharing expansion projects in Maswara County. The stakeholder meeting chaired by LRA Deputy Commissioner for Technical Affairs, Gabriel Montgomery, brought together key stakeholders, including the City Commissioner for BAS, James Java, Superintendent of Maswara County, and mayors of the cities of Pinju and Nairobi. An MOU is expected to be signed as this project is part of the requirement as provided for by the Local Government Act, which calls for revenue sharing between governments and local county authorities. The LRA notes that the project has already generated a lot of success stories and my duty and grandma's account. Five health professionals from the Ministry of Health, Neglected Tropical Disease NTD Program and National Public Health Reference Laboratory have completed an intensive 2-week capacity building training in medical etymology and parasitology in Ghana. The training took place at the Ngozi Memorial Institute for Medical Research from the University of Ghana in Accra. It was organized in collaboration with Liberia's NTD's program and the National Public Health Reference Laboratory with support on reaching the last mile funds through its implementing partner, Site Savers. The short course training described as the first of its kind hosted by the Ngozi Institute for Liberian participants aimed to enhance laboratory and field competencies essential for the elimination of diseases in Liberia by 2030. Some development news from the energy sector. The Liberia Electricity Corporation, of course you've heard about the solar farm that is being built to supplement the national grid. So the LEC is announcing that it has commenced activities that will lead to the commissioning of that 20 megawatt solar farm. The initial testing took place last week with successful energization of the facility and the injection of power into the national grid. The solar farm produced output as expected with only minor technical adjustments and system validation currently underway. The process will then advance to what they call hot commissioning phase, during which the plant will continuously evacuate power into the national grid over a 48-hour period. Throughout this phase, engineers will closely monitor system performance to identify and address any additional technical requirements. Subject to the outcome of the hot commissioning, final commissioning of the solar farm is anticipated early May, April 2026. The President will later on today pay a working visit at the Honorable Liberian Senate. During that visit, His Excellency is expected to engage the leadership of the Senate on critical national issues. And the Ministry of Information will bring you updates from the working visit of the President to the Liberian Senate. Also on tomorrow, which is Friday, the President is expected to address the joint section of the National Legislature. That is, both houses will convene at the Centennial Memorial Pavilion on Ashland Street. We have to announce it because it's a national event. The media will also be there. The public has to be aware that this will happen tomorrow. I can't tell you what the president is expected to say, but a lot is happening. The president addressed the nation last night on the situation that's unfolding on the border, the Liberian border, and Guinea border. Minister Pierre will speak to that later. So then lastly, before we turn the microphone over to the Honorable Minister of Public Works, the Liberian Senate has passed a landmark legislation that is intended to reshape the country's petroleum sector. The bill seeks to establish a new legal framework for the Liberian Petroleum Refining Company, the LPRC. It also repeals the 1989 Act that grants exclusive rights over petroleum regulation, importation, storage, and distribution to the LPRC. The passage of the bill followed a report from the Joint Committee comprising the Judiciary, Human Rights Claims and Petition, Public Cooperation, Ways, Means, Finance and Budget, and Hydrocarbon, Energy and Environment. These are all committees from the Liberian Senate. The enactment of the bill came as a result of weeks of rigorous scrutiny, consultation, and deliberation by the Joint Committee, which were tasked by the Senate to examine the implications of maintaining or reforming the LPRC long monopoly over the importation, storage, distribution, and commercialization of petroleum products across Liberia. The 1989 Act established the LPRC grant, the entity state-owned enterprise sweeping authority to regulate and control petroleum product nationwide. The newly passed bill introduced sweeping reforms, including the removal of monopoly power, the repeal of provisions granting LPRC exclusive rights to import and distribute petroleum products, and opening the sector to licensed private operators. The LPRC will transition from being both regulator, operator, to primarily a commercial entity focusing on infrastructure management, such as storage facilities and terminals, to strengthen regulatory oversight, enhance the role of relevant regulatory bodies to ensure compliance, pricing transparency, environmental protection, and customer safety. The bill, when passed into law, the Senate has passed it, so if the House of Representatives concur, that bill to bring the LPRC statutory authority on doing the creation by any article of incorporation in 1978 and subjecting 8 board members, managing directors, and 2 deputies to Senate confirmation. Lastly, Liberia and the Barbados have signed a landmark visa waiver and political consultation agreement. This move marked a major boost in diplomatic and economic ties between the 2 countries. Of course, the signing took place yesterday at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs on Capitol Hill. The Dean of the President's Cabinet and Foreign Minister of the country, Madam Sarah Besko-Yanti, indicated that the agreement would ease travels, strengthen cooperation, and promote cultural and economic exchange. She noted and also announced plans for a new deal that would allow Liberian nations and help workers to seek employment opportunities in the Barbados. Barbados High Commission, Juliet, Bano, Sunderland, welcomed the agreement and described it as a significant step toward deepening collaboration and mutual development between the two countries. This new visa waiver is expected to improve people-to-people exchanges, while the political consultation framework will guide regular diplomatic engagement between the two nations. Let me now thank you for your attention, and I will start here to welcome to the podium. So before I welcome Minister Gates, while I was in flight, what is the arrival of the Honorable Robert William Potter? Of course, he used to be here before as Deputy Minister for Technical Services. He is now representing Liberia at the IMO, the International Maritime Organization. That being said, we now entertain remarks from Honorable Giddings, the Minister of Public Works. Will be followed by the Deputy Director General at the National Tourism Authority. Then afterwards, we entertain questions from members of the press. Thank you.
Thank you, and good afternoon to everybody. Good afternoon also to our people in Liberia. And I bring you greetings from the Ministry of Public Works, which is solely responsible to handle the infrastructure, specifically horizontal infrastructure, and will speak to the vertical of our country. Minister Pia and your colleagues here, let me take this time to say thank you for this wonderful place. The last time I was here, I think I started to complain about the heat while I was speaking, and to come and see what you've done here in a very short time is very magnificent. And let me take this time to say thank you for making this place habitable. So I'd like to just brief, of course, the Liberian people and the press of what we are engaged with at the Ministry of Public Works. Like you are aware, the rule agenda for this country is something that President Walker takes very seriously. And all he says, roads, roads, roads. We say the road development starts with the construction and rehabilitation of roads. And so that's why road becomes, or road is, the fulcrum of our economic development. All of the constraints that were established in terms of economic growth point to roads and energy as the two binding constraints. And that is why even with the support from the MCC, the first compact we got, and again, the second that we should be getting, roads and energy remains the two important investments that we need to make. And so I'd just like to begin to update the public about where we are. When we took over, the President was very concerned about creating accessibility across the country. All of us here in this room, and even in Radio Land, to an extent, know that during the rainy season, it was almost, if not impossible, to access certain part of the country, specifically the southeastern part, from both ends, from the end along the coastal belt, and also from the end within central Liberia down to the southeast. When we took over, we were able to get that to the level where you can now have accessibility across the country. We're very keen to make sure that continues and to also update you on some of the investment that we make in terms of permanently paving those roads so that the life of our people as compared to those who live in central Liberia now, for example, in Ganta, can be that accessible. Ganta has become the second largest economy in our country, not just because of where it is, but also because of the accessibility. There was a time where it would take almost 6-7 hours to just go to Ganta. And nobody can do that in terms of the kind of time saving that are required for business purpose. But today, that can happen. And I will just update you on what we're doing to go to other major cities, like Sergio, up to Baltimore, up to Maryland, for example, River G, and what we do on the coastal highway to access, for example, Cester City, Greenville, and even Barclayville. So I'll start first with quickly asphalt repairs. If you look around central Monrovia and its environs, we thought that it makes sense because the population in Monrovia is just about 1.5 billion persons. And of course, the city is not built currently for that, but this is what we have. And so even on our roads, the actual load, of course, become an issue. And so road maintenance is a key part of the work that we do. So we have started major rehabilitation and repairs of roads across central Monrovia, Tubero, SD Kopo Road, SKD Boulevard corridors, the Covenant Back Road, Bishop Marco Francis Road, Niso Parker Pin, and other communities. Currently, those are just basic maintenance to ensure that those roads remain viable because of the economic, of course, activities within the capital. We've also embarked on the pavement of some community roads, in addition to what was done previously. Some of the roads that are looking to be paved, some works are currently ongoing, some are in the preparation to begin. The Chickasaw Factory Road, the VOA Community Road, which is in the Rural area, the New Georgia Road, which was almost like no road was there. That project has started. The Peletown Community Road within the Tingo Village, Bell. Rock Culture, that's in Dwazon, work has started. The Crestwood City Road within the same Dwazon area. Lightning Road. Some part of Oro. One of the things we did some access creation within the Oro corridor. You can only enter Oro from the Nigerian House, from the VP Road and Scali Junction, and from Fish Market. Today we've created access, additionally access into the Oro Road, and with support from NASCO, we should be paved 4.1 kilometers into the Oro community. Like you look within the what you call Tupi-Taylor communities, what have been done there will be similar to what we're going to do for parts of the Oro community. And that will create the access we want to build this parallel corridor along the Tottenham Boulevard. Also, of course, the Ministry of Public was responsible for making sure our drainage system works. We've gotten support from the World Bank on the LERP project. Of course, that support has dried out, but we are left with the requisite equipment that's required to do drainage cleaning. So in the next weeks, you will see us in the communities doing drainage cleaning and in preparation for the rainy season that is yet to come. Of course, with the effect of climate change, you can now see that intermittently we have rains. So we can determine when the dry season is. However, we have to work when there's dry and prepared for the rains whenever it comes. But once we have dry, we continue to work. We also initiated something we call the Community Gravel Road Intervention Project. We call it the CGRIP. One of the things we've done is to begin to prepare for paving those roads. So along certain corridors within Monrovia, we have been installing drainage systems to prepare for pavement. So we'll get to the next phase, it's easier to pave. So we're installing culverts circular covered and bus covered in many of the communities. Next to this is the primary road corridor pavement corridor ongoing. Now I'd like to say to you that we announced that to date the government has paved about 121 kilometers of roads. But in the next 1 year, that number could triple because of the intervention that we're currently making. Medina to Ravenscourt, 12.5 kilometers is currently being paved. Kanta to Saclay will be annexed soon, that's 39 kilometers. We are paving that. If you go to that corridor, you see the work that's been done. Saclay to Tapleta is about 93% complete. And we're going to be starting Tapleta to Toastown. The contractor, SICO, has already mobilized to pave 40 kilometers from Tapleta to Toastown. We just got a new objection from the World Bank for the next phase, which is from Toastown to Zwerju, which is 85 kilometers. Hopefully by the next dry season, you'll see a contractor in that corridor. So we can simply say to you that pavement from Ganta to Zwerju is on the way, and of course will be completed in the next 3 years. So you will be driving on paved road by 2029, latest up to Zwerju and even up to Harbour. From Zwerju to John Dale Town, which is 48.5 kilometers, this is financed by the African Development Bank. We go into the procurement process to get a contractor hire for this project. We've already got a no objection for John Dale Town to Fishtown, which is 61.5 kilometers, and that contractor will start doing the dry season. So by next year dry season, October, November, December, you will have 4 contractors in the corridor between Tapleta to Fishtown paving the road. That's where the gap is. That is where, once it's paved, then you can drive up to Harbour on paved road. Because from Fishtown, Kiliko to Harbour is paved. I know many of us sit in Monrovia and have not gone to the southeast and may not experience what we're talking about. But those of you who travel to the southeast, you know that the road is paved up to Harbour. We are also building a bridge over the Kabbalah River to connect Liberia to Ivory Coast by that bridge, which have seen the Ivorian paving from Tapu to Poro to the border, and we've already paved from Harbour Junction to the border. So the bridge is being constructed, and within 2 years, that is by 2027, hopefully, latest September, that bridge will be done and will be dedicated, that bridge, to enhance trade across the border. Also, there's a joint border post that is being constructed for, of course, our immigration, custom across both borders. We provided the space for the Ivorians were not in a position to give the land, so that joint border post will be built on our side of the border, which will enhance trade. One of the potential that has is that we now connect San Pedro by just under 2 hours, 30 minutes to Harbour, which creates a potential, of course, in the seaport sector. The Port of Harbour is a major investment. Once improved, can also take some of the burden on the Port of San Pedro. San Pedro currently has a berth of 1,200 meters, but is overwhelmed by the country volume. So the Port of Harbour can be potentially used. Once that bridge is built, it takes less than 3 hours, you are in Harbour. So there can be transshipment between the two countries. Very good potential for economic development. So that means the road from Ganta to Fishtown by 2029, 2030, you'll be driving on paved road, asphalt road, what we call in our local pidgin English, Kota road, will be in that corridor. And that can allow you to do 7, maximum 8 hours you're in Maryland. Let me also talk about some new pipeline project. Because there's a conversation that since the government took over, the government has not done anything new. Now, you don't just do something new because you should do something new. You must be able to fix the current projects that were there before you do that. But before I speak to that, let me speak to the Banga Salaye project. The Banga Salaye project was one of the projects that we have to fix when we took over. And that project will be completed in 1 kilometer, hopefully by next month. We'll be dedicated that project. We have to go back and organize the financier from Kuwait, Badia, the Saudis, and OPEC to finance the rest of the corridor, the 150 kilometers from Salaye up to Wanchuma. Let me inform you, the Liberian people, that this government has secured funding for the stretch from Salaye to Konya, which is 50 kilometers, and also from the border, the Zozo, that is Yala to the border of Guinea, Yala, and of course that will be a part of that project. The Saudis and also the other partners, Kuwaitis, Badia, and OPEC, has also committed to do the balance 65 kilometers up to Wanchuma. So we can safely say that we have the funding to pave from Salaye straight to Wanchuma. Hopefully by next dry season, the first 50 kilometers from Salaye to Konya will begin pavement. From Wanchuma to Foyo, Minikoma, under the new pipeline project initiated by this government, we did what you call a PPP. The government adopted a PPP policy, public-private partnership policy, endorsed by cabinet, that allow us to not just look to multilateral and bilateral for support into our infrastructure sector, but to also look to private financing. The government took a bold step to begin that process with a pipeline project that we announced, which is done with Pelifort. Pelifort is a private company out of Sierra Leone that have been involved in construction roads in Sierra Leone, Guinea, and the Gambia. And the government has done a concession of 255 kilometers of roads, which will start from St. Paul Bridge to Clay to Topwood, Clay to Bull Waterside, and Minikoma, Foya, Wanchuma. Hopefully, groundbreaking going to be done next month here in Monrovia. All of you are invited. Hopefully at Porio or Sasta, the square that will be, but more information will be provided for the groundbreaking for the first section, and then the next one will be in Minikoma in Lofa for the second phase. So those who are asking for a new project, this is a new project. This is a new project initiated by the government of Liberia, led by Joseph Newman Waka, and so the debate about new project will be over by then, once we get started. Also in the pipeline, there's also the project from Buchanan City to Sester Junction, which is part of the coastal highway. It's a new project also. We've gotten preliminary commitment from the African Development Bank to fund the first 56 kilometers. And of course, recently we were in Brussels, and the Honorable Minister of Information was a part of the delegation to the forum with the EU, and there is a partial commitment to look to fund the balance corridor from Sester Junction up to Greenville. We are having conversations with the European Union, not finalized yet, and also with the European Investment Bank and all the private financing to fund this corridor up to Greenville. This is also a new project that's going to be happening. And let me say thank you to the President for his five-sidedness, because this preliminary feasibility studies that was done prior to the last government coming in place. We are now executing that. Under the plan for enrichment, we're also going to do the balance 30 kilometers to cover the Madina to Rama School. Like you know, in the arrest agenda, tourism is a big part of what we are doing, and so we are key on paving corridors that lead us to touristic sites. and cities. And all of us can agree that Ravenscourt bears one of the best scenarios of our country in terms of tourism. We all know one of the best sites for serving is here along the coast. And so developing that corridor into Ravenscourt from Medina, which will connect to the Cape towards that corridor, will be something that we're very interested in. Currently, the first 12.5 kilometers has been paved, and the balance 10 kilometers are part of the permit for arrangement. So that corridor will be done. Another new corridor that we're looking at, and the feasibility study is taking place, is to connect Tottenham to Solway, Broadway to Bopolu, through that corridor up to Lofa, out to Vaho or Kulaho. The president is key on connecting Lofa to Bopolu by road. So that means going to Lofa will be very short if you're going to the Bopolu route. We currently have a company that's doing feasibility studies, and that study will be brought to us for discussion. Another new project in the works that is going through concessioning right now is the project that takes us from Greenville to Barbostown, Grangeda through the Sapo National Park. It's a 174 kilometer. The Sapo National Park is of course heritage and is one of the touristic sites that we must develop. And so paving a road through that park makes good sense for tourism and for also economic potential. That is going to happen. We're currently going through a concession discussion for a company that's going to finance it jointly with the government of Liberia. It's also a part of the PPP engagement that we are executing. Next, we see that the corridor from Freeport to St. Paul Bridge is being constructed by MDMC, a Liberian company. We are hoping that we reach the bridge, St. Paul Bridge, we call that, before the rains on one side, and be able to complete that project hopefully by next year. Currently, works are ongoing. One of the things that we try to do, not to forget about the capital cities of the different counties. Today, and now in the budget, there is funding for us to do intervention in the rural cities. Bopolu City, which is not paved at all, there will be some pavement beginning process to pave the city streets. Krakata city streets have been paved already. We're just going to continue to expand that. Banga city streets, there will be some pavement there. Ganta and Sanikoy cities. Zoeju also paved. There will be some pavement on some of the corridors or the roads that are not paved. Fishtown, the road that passes through Fishtown, there's intend to also pave some of the city streets there. Riverside City, not paved at all. Dirt road, the intent is to do so. In Kansas City, there will be continuous or additional pavement there. Greenville also. Franklin has no pavement at all. There will be pavement in our city. Harper has a lot, but still there will be some intervention. Ravenscourt, Tottenham, and Bonjama will be paved under the social corporate responsibility that was initiated under the Permit for Agreement. That concession will see roads paved in the cities of those three counties that are affected by the concession. The counties are Tottenham, Bonjama, and Ravenscourt. Let me also say what we have been doing at the Ministry of Public Works is to begin to create some interconnectivity across the city, connecting some communities that were not connected and making accessibility easier. I will name some of them. We now connected the SKD Boulevard to Paco Island to Peace Island, up to Roto Town, and this can give you access to Monrovia without getting on the Tottenham Boulevard. That is why we have created that project, and it is fast advanced. In fact, communities are beginning to use the road now from SKD Boulevard to Paco Island up to Peace Island. There are more of that to be done. We're currently connecting Arlington to Rivertown, and we're looking to connect New Jersey to Corwin, and also Mount Bartlett to Blossom. So the studies have been taking place now, and those are just connecting by bridge and improved roads. So we're doing what you call interconnectivity. This is exactly what we're going to continue to do because we believe it creates access in ways that you don't easily understand. Because there are times where you get stuck in the traffic and there's no other route, there's one route. We're creating more than that so that you have access, and it's easy to access some of the communities without being in the traffic for many hours. One last program that we initiated, and this is very key to the president, alley opening across the country, not just in Monrovia, but even in the counties, with speaking with superintendents and others. I think we should extend that program in the counties, and of course, that will happen. We're opening up alleys in Monrovia, like you can see. And let me just say that the people of Liberia, thank you for accepting this program. Because even in the communities, there are people who will agree that they're in the alley and they have to leave the alley. We cannot have our communities not laid out properly. We cannot have the roads occupied by people who believe they can build just anywhere. That's not going to happen. And I'm happy that the communities accepted our intervention, and so there has not been any hostility in the community against the Ministry of Public Works for doing this, because the communities themselves believe that creating access is important. There are people who choose to build in the road and say they don't care about those in the back. Many times when there are fire outbreak or when there are situations where you need to get ambulances into the communities, it's almost impossible. Our communities are not going to remain like that. So we started opening up alleys. And I know you can see us everywhere doing that. The communities have been very receptive on what we're doing. No, sometimes it is painful. And you build a house and it's in the alley. And there was a joke about one of my church brother who built 2 houses. He built one in the alley on the road. We broke that one down. And he went, he let to build the alley. And he built the other one somewhere in the Lancashire. So then he told me, there's the other one in the alley. I said, we'll bring it down again. As much as you are my brother, we can't allow that. So it's better for you to buy your land and build in the proper place than to say, I'm living in Singapore, I'm living on the old road, and someone said they live in Dwazon or live in Basha. And you say, but you live way there. But you living in town, but you building a house in places that are not just right. Only because past government did not do anything doesn't mean it's right. And so we've taken the responsibility, and I'm pleased that the president has said to me, just do what is right. And I said, it can be whoever has. There's someone in government and got relation with people in government houses that have been broken down before. And they had no option. But we had to do it because that's what it is. So whether you're in government or you're not in government, when your house is thrown in the alley, we'll bring it down. There's no exception. We're not going to bend the rule. And I'm sure that's why it's been successful. Because when the community see that you are bending the rules for others, and you are maybe breaking what we would call poor people houses now, then you create problem in the communities. But we bring in everybody, whether it's considered as poor, middle income, rich, or whatever. If it's in the area and it's established, we're going to break it down. You can take us to court, we go through the court process, because sometimes people will use the court to hold us off, to say, court still want it, not do it. But we go through the process, and we know there's a law for that. The Supreme Court passed on a ruling specifically to that. And I even had that shared with me by one of the former justices. So there's a ruling already on that. You take us to court, we'll find a way out of that. You can't be in an alley or in the right of way. And so I'm sending this warning to all of our people. Do not spend your money to build in places that you know is not right. Because the Ministry of Public Works doesn't have the capacity to be everywhere. If you build it after 3 months and we go and realize that it's there, we'll break it down. We're going to break it down. There's no way it's going to stay there. So don't do it. One of the things that's happened also over the years, we pay people who were in the right of way for some of the big projects. And I will give an example. from Real Light to Kakata up to the Nema Guinea border. We pay people. If you go to Mount Bartley now, Mount Bartley is so terrible. We put a right-of-way marker and say you can't build beyond this place. People saw it and they still keep building. We go to Mount Bartley. Everywhere in that corridor, we bring everything down that's within the places that shouldn't be. You can have a business tool that will take it down. You gotta respect that there's a government. When the government say you can't do this, you can't do this. Anything is wrong. Build in the places that is right. Build in places that you should do. Get authorization from the government to do so. Even some of the right-of-way that we are preserving, if we believe what you're building is structured enough, the government will give you the authorization. But don't choose to make your investment in places that are not right. When we come, we definitely do what is right to clear the right-of-way in those areas. Lastly, I'll speak on the establishment of the maintenance zones. I know there was a whole process that got us to the issue of the yellow machine coming to the country. The president's vision for setting up a maintenance zone make a lot of sense. We are doing a road inventory survey and preliminarily. Our road network has gone up to 14,000 kilometers. It was about 39 kilometers over the last year since 2019 when the road inventory survey was done. We're just doing the second one after that since 2019, and it suggests that we go up to full 14,000 kilometers. Most of the roads that were about 8,000 plus are feeder roads. Secondary roads is just about 3,000 to 4,000, and then the primary road is under that. So we need to do a lot with maintaining our feeder roads. Our feeder roads are roads that connect us to farms, and all of the agriculture belt. We've also created another road we call the village access road. The village access road is half of the feeder road. That takes us to smaller villages and towns, and because of that, it has created a lot of improvement in the delivery of basic social services and economic progress in those towns and villages. This program was designed and supported by the Swedish government. Thanks to them, I know the Swedish government is not believing, but that program stays with the Ministry of Public Works. We're going to continue that. So the maintenance zone is going to be used for that. We're bringing the yellow machine to the country. We have 15 counties. Each county will have a zone. The bigger counties will have 2 zones set up. There will be about 15 to 16 pieces of equipment to be used for road maintenance. The president is very keen on that access to our different communities, whether towns, villages, and economic belts, where there's mining, where there's agriculture program, where there should be the delivery of basic social services, people should have access. And we believe once you invest in roads and energy, let me add that, you're building the kind of economic viability that's required to enhance the needed growth. So let me take this time to say thank you for the honor, Mr. Minister, and Tanya at the Ministry of Information. We are glad to come from town to town to provide updates on where we are with the investment in our road sector. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon. Before I start, I want to say thank you to the Honorable Minister for the support tourism has received from you in providing access to these tourism hotspots. And we can confirm and affirm that indeed these projects are ongoing. And we know that the Ministry of Public Works will do more in supporting tourism as a part of the rest agenda. Here representing the Director General of the Labrador National Tourism Authority, Honorable Princess Eva Cooper, who could not be here due to some other national engagements. Why are we here? At the Labrador National Tourism Authority, which we all know came out of the Ministry of Information, we are charged with that responsibility to promote Liberia as a destination of choice. One of the things we also do there is to promote our Labrador cultural heritage, our touristic sites, and also promote positive Liberian value, generally leading towards economic transformation. Another key function of the Liberia National Tourism Authority is to provide regulation for tourism-related businesses. What does that mean? It means businesses that are involved with any of the following. If you're running a beach, if it's a restaurant, if it's a hotel, motel, if it's a bar, if you're an artist, a musician, if you're a tailor into fashion, if you're an artisan who is a wood carver or you're making weave, anything that is creative of our culture or represents the essence of who we are in any of these spaces qualifies as tourism-related business. And under the law, you have to get a permit to operate this business. This is not new. It has been happening ever since under the Ministry of Information, back when it was MICA. It is going to continue under the Liberia National Tourism Authority. So we are here to tell our people that at the Liberia National Tourism Authority, for the first time, we are launching a road show to create awareness to the public that first, the Liberia National Tourism Authority is there. We are visible. Our office is on 18th Street, Warner Avenue, Wento Building. That's where our office physical location is currently. And we are running this roadshow to encourage people to come into regulation, come and apply and get your permit to operate your tourism business, because inspection will take place shortly. And when the inspectors come around, we'll ensure that our people have these permits. What does it do? It ensures that our tourism-related businesses are safe and that they meet the standards to provide the kind of service that tourists need when they visit these spaces. So that if you were to go to any other country and come to Liberia, the quality of service you receive as a tourist will represent the best Liberia has to offer, and that this standard should be the same across the entire country. So the Liberia National Tourism Authority's job is to make sure that the services we offer, whether it's from a restaurant or a hotel, should meet the best standard for the money spent. And that is our job. So the road show will be just a display and creating awareness and sensitization. It will start, the date is tomorrow, the 18th of March. It will commence at 10 a.m. at our office on 18th Street. There will be a parade, an initial start on 13th Street, Oliver Palace, on 14th Street, Royal Grand, where our staff and other stakeholders will be engaging. We'll also pass through the Central Monrovia, 12th Street, Murex Plaza, IB Bank.
Tomorrow is
The 20th. Oh, sorry, the 20th. My bad. So yeah, it's the 20th. It's the 20th. It's right here. So please make that adjustment. It's the 20th and the 18th. So tomorrow, the 20th, as we've stated, this will be the itinerary. We're going to be passing through these principal spaces. The University of Liberia, Stella Maris, engaging with young people, students, community outreach and cultural activities. The cultural troupe will be available dancing and drawing attention to what we're going to be doing. And the float, there will be a float with people on board, very colorful, with flyers and banners and stickers. And they're supposed to go through the streets, up through the freeway, back and into red light. So this is intended to inform the public that the Liberia National Tourism Authority is there. Our website is the lnta.gov.lr. If you go to the website, we'll be accepting applications. People will be able to apply. Physically, you can go to the office to apply, to get your permits, or go to the website to apply and follow the instructions there. Either way, there will be more information coming from the Liberia National Tourism Authority, but we're saying to the general populace that we're here. Please, if you are running a tourist business, even before we get there, try to do the right thing. Ensure that your facility is safe, is clean, and the quality of service that you are providing reflects the standard of Liberian hospitality. The intent of the Tourism Authority is not to scare or bully anyone, but it's to work with our private businesses to raise their standard and promote them so that together we can all give our country, a facelift and a good impression as far as our visitors, both local and foreign. Now, when we talk about tourists, we normally just think about people who come into the country. No. There's also domestic tourism. If you left from here today as an individual and went to Canada for a funeral, you are a tourist. Whilst you are there, you go to some restaurant to eat, or you might go to a hotel to sleep. That is tourism. So every one of us here in Liberia, whether or not you travel, is a potential tourist. When we go out of town, we get to these facilities, we expect to receive the best of services. So we are starting from this stage, building on what has been done already, and hoping that we can all work together to make Liberia a better country than we all envisage. So thank you very much.
Alright, so you will have enough time to ask your questions, but just before Minister Lee returns, because he has to be here to take questions, so that just put this in between. I would just like to add, last night the President addressed the nation on the situation of the board. And we believe it was the right thing to do, even though the Ministry of Information has been acting to provide all of you information you need to know about what's going on at the border. We are in the same space, social media and other places, and sometimes we see some of the things some of our citizens put up. And when you come to think about it, and I think this is where I want to spend a little time on that. Look back and reflect on how many persons have died since the war started in Ukraine. Look back and see how many persons have died as a result of the ongoing war that is having so many different implications on the world at large. Or even go back into history and see what the casualty level was for the Liberian Civil War. Not all of disrespect, but I've always said, many of you in this room are young people, perhaps young enough not to have experienced what took place in this country. And I must also say we are very fortunate to have President Waka as the current president of Liberia. We're also very fortunate to have the different officials we have around him, whether it's managing our foreign service or managing the security sector or communication, whatever it is. These combinations are responsible for how steadily we're conducting ourselves as a country. I see some people on social media, no Liberians say they're angry. Because our territorial sovereignty in their words has been encroached upon and we're doing nothing. You want to volunteer so we can give you weapon to go do something so we're not doing anything? So let's be careful with how we conduct ourselves. War has never been a good thing. And the way to also address dispute should never be through the means of war. And we have said continuously that we're taking the approach of diplomacy, of engagement, of dialogue, of negotiation, and from the pages of history, we know that this works. And our primary responsibility here is to not lead our nation to war irrespective of whatever is unfolding. And it's imperative that you citizens, journalists, and everybody support the peaceful efforts that have been made by the government and stop the suggestions that definitely will lead to anarchy and chaos. The chance you have today to talk may not exist if there was to be chaos. The assurance you have to yourself that you can go to bed and wake up the next morning, hopefully with God's mercy over anything happening to you, is simply the result of the peaceful environment you have. Anything that turns it around to a chaotic scene and environment does not guarantee that you live for a minute. To support the actions of the government, which are responsibly being carried out so far. I was watching the president's address, and I see citizens from Guinea took interest in the address. And those of you who speak French, go and see their comments. Try to interpret them and see what they are in English. Basically, your president is being celebrated by people on the other side of the table. As some of you are here whining unnecessarily. That sense of nationalism, patriotism that is absent in some of us, we must reflect and bring it back to ourselves. We'll be guided strictly by what benefits this country. We'll be guided by what keeps Liberia safe. We'll not be sentimental, we'll not be emotional, we will not follow agents. So the president was clear. In fact, he told the Republic that the way we've conducted ourselves so far is not an indication of weakness. But what is strength? Goliath is supposed to be the strongest person in biblical terms. So he wanted to use his strength. Go and read your Bible and tell me how you end there. It took a shepherd boy with a swing to drop him there. Maybe he would have lived on fire if he didn't go to engage and try to destroy the children of Israel because he felt he was strong. If that biblical stuff doesn't teach you a lesson, you think when they made you president is about proving that you're a strong person and that you can eat iron and live dozens of iron at the same time. That's not what leadership is about. If you're looking for a Goliath, you're not going to find a Goliath in President Black. He's going to lead the way he's leading. We are a non-permanent member of the U.S. Security Council. Our actions and conduct should prevent conflict, not to enact one. We believe we're proceeding well on this matter, and we'll keep it that way. Go across the border to Guinea. You find a Kisi man, you find a Pere man, you find a Madingo man, you find a Fula, Loma. Go about meeting all the ethnicity that are there. You find those same people here. You want war? Are you saying the Loma men in Guinea are different than the Loma men in Liberia? The Kisi men similarly? Let me be a little bit serious. thought I'm here to make that point and to stand firmly by the actions that the president has taken, and to also say to you that the best that he could talk about, consistent with the message he delivered last time, was just what we saw. We thank him for his leadership. And we urge you, our citizens, to support the government towards peacefully resolving what is currently underway. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Minister. We'll take questions. Please introduce yourself and the position you are in.
Thank you. I would like to say that my name is Darius Kanda. I will go for OGS. My question goes to the Public Works Minister. Mr. Minister, first let me commend you on your focus on the ministry for the level of work and so far. But I'm concerned you need several community roads, and the road leading from Red Light to Puebla, that has been my major concern. I mean, are you taking into consideration of that road as well? What is your project of this? Thank you.
You leave it there?
And then leave you.
No, you leave it there? Tell the minister to pay my community road.
Without anyone here is my question goes to the Public Works Minister of the Philippines. Honorable Minister, thank you for the deliberation. Our concern has been drawn to the issue of demolition. Is there any plan by Public Works where a Public Works team or team from Public Works Ministry will go on the field to view or learn before a person will have a letter from Public Works stating that all this land needs to be a standard for building to avoid demolition?
Thank you. My name is Mopolu, and I report for Inside Liberia. Let me say nothing to Mr. Giddings and his team. Minister of recent doing the Rule Fund conference here in Liberia, President Walker was very straight, but he expressed concern about the prolonged road, construction projects that have been traditional in Liberia. But then it's not until 7 or 6 years to complete a road. Now that you are involved in that road project, are you willing, to work to complete all of the project from now until 2029? Thank you. But just before reaching the ministry, you had the drainage. I have been reporting on the drainage there. MCC said they are not responsible to clean the drainage. I want to know, you and the MCC, who should be cleaning drainage? Thank you.
Okay, thanks for giving me the opportunity. My name is Arthur B. Wilson. I report for the England Online TV, the Green TV Online Television, and the Global News TV. Really, thanks for providing an overview of Liberia infrastructure achievements. I sat in my seat and listened to you carefully. At the beginning, you talk about the connection of Vicana to Greenville, and also mention about connecting Greenville to Great Chile through the Sabo National Park. And I don't know, I did not hear about the connection from Greenville passing through Barclayville to Blibo, which is located in Maryland County. My concern here is that every day see the people there, they face challenges. Sellers move from that side because they get their goods from.
Ask the question.
Okay, so what is the government doing to have that place built? Thanks.
Good afternoon, my name is Philip. I work for the oldest newspaper on the newsstand since 1978, the New Liberian newspaper. Mr. Giddings, I will praise you publicly because I will be really skeptical about the work you're doing.
We're having trouble in some east just recently. I think we're carrying big truck there, you know, they will fail off on you. It will be easy to go there. We are praised in that area, and I saw it for myself. I far as bad as but I have two concerns, please. Let's talk about the overhead people by the Chinese government. I tried to contact them through the public affairs company. I can't get an answer. Liberians are concerned. Are there plans to show a diagram of how that place will be looking? Because people are still complaining that they be able to stay in the traffic all this time, and when they place people will have the same kind of traffic here. So will there be a diagram to show how that place will be as they continue to build that place? Liberians are very much concerned. My second question has to do with the RRA rule. The last time there was an audit that talked to post was still on the operation of that road. Can you give up to speed about that? Thank you.
All right, the only freedom that man had is Lena is part of the ministry. It doesn't mean everybody else got two questions. One question only.
No, I don't think it's
One question only. Go where you were heading.
Anyway, I'm regards Faith Liberty that we go for Liberia's program on our platform. That's DN News Liberia. Back to the Salomba, all of them involved how doing some research work. And it's guided by the federal principle and coming to the treaties of 1892. And I gotta know that it's a legal rule used international some of the domestic law. And the bank control refers to administrative and military authorities that exercises over the bank immediately adjacent to the project. The thing nothing something to does a clarification on the McConnell agreement of which Liberia does a swapping conducted of which Liberia has a copy of it. And according to the international water course law, for if a mining was to be conducted, because that river is being shared with these two countries. The country on the other side should be aware. And BK Mining Company, which is also part of what is happening now, was reportedly controlling the same mine. I really want to know, Liberia being aware of the international water course law, of which no country that is sharing that or that is royalty value should conduct or isolation or permit. Now, where Liberia is now, the Liberian government gave a permit to the BK Sending company to go ahead to mine to send mine at a river, and also as the Liberia government was aware of the same mining that was going on at that border that's been disputed. So why is the action being taken against the BK mining company, especially whereas Liberians were eager to have listened to the person making emphasis on the BK mining company in his last speech?
Thank you. Next question.
Good afternoon, I'm Larry SKA, and I report for Legate News Africa. My point concern goes to disobedience. Anytime the public work ministry is called upon, all we hear is roads, which is not bad because it's part of the function. But then this government, when they came to power, they also talked about maintaining public needs, especially talking about the former Hotel Africa. The government said they were effort they were paying to renovate that particular hotel. But the Ministry of Public Works, anytime they are called upon, they don't talk about these things. So where are we when it comes to public need? And my last question also. There is no way.
Good afternoon, my name is Desmond Video, and I report for Human Rights Watch. My concern goes to the Deputy Director for the National Tourism Authority, Councilor Anthony Doris Cooper, sorry.
Remember where you know this.
Sometimes they are going to take it So, just as it's important for public knowledge, what are the distinguished annual permit fees for each of these institutions that are to register on the National Tourism Authority, talking about the hotels and that of the restaurants, and I'm quite sure entertainment centers and bar are also inclusive as part of our tourism sectors. And just to conclude, what specific aim does the
program of tomorrow seek to address in terms of the long, in terms of public sensitization? Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Winston Kaba, again, I report for listening to the minister, he spoke very well. And as per what the minister of Public Works. It means that the government is making significant progress when it comes to infrastructure development. But I was moved when I heard you saying that once your structures or your houses are in the alley, the Public Works will break it down. And I live 72nd, so most often when I come into town, I sit on car around the 540 belt. There's a building of concern, the Kalanos building. I'm always hearing people complaining, but why is it all of the structures along this place got broken down, but this particular building is still standing? Thank you.
Good afternoon, my name is Arima Efupegi and I report from this event. My question is directed to Minister Gidding. Minister Gidding, we want to recognize your effort in terms of road infrastructure that is visible in some part of the country. But my question is this: under your leadership, when will Nigerians start to see asphalt pavement road in communities like Red Light, GSA Road, Rock Hill communities, and some part of the country? Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph, for the question.
So thank you. I will address the question from the bottom to the top. So the last question about community road, of course, we've already started doing community road pavement, and you see a lot of that as we go along. Next year, 2028, after 2029, there'll be a lot of pavement required. If you went to Matani, Piama, you can see Lapasi, there's a lot to do there, pavement, both asphalt and also retail pavement in other communities. I listed some of the communities roads that we started paving already. You'll be able to see that happen. So there's a lot that will happen for community roads, because we understand that the roads in the community, as much as we believe that they don't bring much economic benefit, but they also, there's social responsibility that the government has. So it's not only economically potential roads that we pay, but we'll also pay the community roads to provide access to business social services. The Kalano building is not a private land. It's not within the right of way. And if we needed the space, we'll cut the building to half. We'll pay for half, we half. That building, you can't cut it to that. So the space we have now to do the overpass, including the access roads, is sufficient. So we don't need to break it down. We don't need to go have to pay for those properties. But the properties are on private land. The government will have to pay for it. If it's in the right of way, if it's in the alley, it's a different situation. But once it's a private property, the government can, take private property without paying for it. Even if we need it by way of eminent domain, we have to pay for it. And we did the assessment, we did all the dimension. We don't need the space, so we won't just break a building down because we need it. And besides that, we do it, it's very expensive. We have to pay for the entire building. It's not a building that you can just cut piece and make piece. So we did realignment, and so Kalana building is safe. He has his building, we're building the roads, we're building the access road, we're building the service lane, and we're building the bridge. So we don't need it. Public buildings, yes, someone asked specifically, it's the vertical aspect of what we do. And we had an infrastructure conference recently, and there is a lot to do with public buildings. We're talking about spatial development. We just passed a new zoning law that tells us we're rezoning our cities, working with the land commission and the municipal. So public buildings are key. There's something about Hotel Africa. I was involved with that. I'm involved with that. I'm on the IMCC and discussing that. In fact, we're supposed to reclaim Hotel Africa, the land. So all the people who build on that land, we have to reclaim it. Those people just went and took the land. Just build on it. So, the government land, let's take it for us. No. we need Hotel Africa to come back to where it was. Yeah, I went to Hotel Africa in 2002, before the war. I was in Bakaris. Let me say, if you know Bakaris, if those of you know Bakaris, I was in Bakaris, 2002 August. And I know what we saw at Hotel Africa. After the crisis, when I went back in 2003 November, I was shocked for what I saw. It was destroyed by ourselves, you know. People just vandalized it, was not point. But it's still dark because that's when the African Union met at the time. But it was an African unity. So it's a key piece of infrastructure, and there's an interest in it, and so we have to clear the land to be able to get it up and running. And of course, so that building is key. Ducal Palace, of course, it was should have been rehabilitated by the Libyan Holding Company. Unfortunately, the crisis took place in Libya when Gaddafi was killed, and of course the government was brought down. The Libyan Holding Company could not continue their interest, so it stayed there. We did a lot of work. I was in the president's office when we even paid people along Ducal. All those houses you see along Ducal, pay them. We're ready again to break that one down. Because people get stubborn. You pay them for it, they go back and they will pay them for the property, for the land, everything. And right after they realized that the government was not going ahead with it, they went back and started building again. So all the property below Ducal, they were already paid for. So the government got interested. We're talking to a South Korean company that are even looking at the housing back on Ashmore Street. So there's conversation about these public buildings. The president is key about them. So I didn't, speak much about them in my briefing, but there are works that have been done for those buildings. Even Egypt, there's some conversation about it now, and I won't say exactly what the details are, but the government has interest in rehabilitating and getting these buildings up and running. We did that by the government last time with the central bank you see today. It was not finished, and the government has interest in it also. The RI corridor, yes, we did an audit. And you mentioned that they have not spoken on it. That project has been on pause for a while because we had to audit the project. Since we took over as a government, we have not paid a dime to the contractor for works. The money the contractor have been using have all been money that they got from three different loans they took from the African Bank and EB under the last government, the CZ government, and the money has been paid directly to the contractors. So they've been spending the money. Now for us to pay any money, we have to audit the project to know exactly what's put into the project, what was put into other roads that they said they used the money for. That audit has been conducted. Yesterday we had an exit meeting with the GSC on the audit. So it's finalized. We are now moving ahead. We'll be advised by GSC as to how we proceed. We're reordering the contract because the way it was structured was not okay. And we felt there was a problem with it. So because of that, the company was on hold. Said they had no resources to continue. But we could not make any payment until we ordered the project. That has been done. So I can simply say that in the next weeks, you'll see the resumption of work on the RI corridor. The project has to finish. Concerned about the overhead bridge diagram, yes, a lot of expression about that. The contracting firm and the consultant felt they were not obligated. It's a grant from the Chinese government, $36 million grant for the two bridges, the west and the east. So we constructed it. The government took responsibility for that. We're currently designing the billboard. So very soon you will see that blown out billboard to say exactly, prototype, what the overhead bridge will look like. Yes, there's conversation about what are you going to relieve traffic. Yes, they will relieve traffic, but they're going to do so. If you get to the Mission Complex now, there are a lot of cars that go to the Mission Complex, some go to the Common Bar Road. So if you're coming from here, and you don't want to go to the Mission Complex, once you get to the current Unity Party headquarters, you ascend on that bridge, you fly over the Mission Complex, well, you got nothing to do with it. And then you go down by just before you get to Zone 3, and then you continue to town. In fact, we are intending to expand the boulevard to do 3-lane. It's 2 now, but to make it 3 on one side, 3 on the other side. We're going to conduct the survey this year. Hopefully, next year will be a project that we will initiate. We'll get started. And so the scene at the SKD Boulevard. If you're coming from Kingsway and you don't want to do anything with SKD Boulevard, you ascend from Oseli, that's where it takes off from, and you fly over. up to beyond Ministry of Health, and then you continue and get on the other one. So once you don't do nothing at Eskimo Boulevard, you come to the time you don't want to be there. So the two overhead passes will decongest the traffic. When these things are done, there were studies done for it. So I know we could definitely engineers, okay, that will be there. Oh, you know how this on Facebook. Facebook is so good now. Everybody can ask questions, can say, oh, this is not going to do. So we understand that, but we provide the clarity for that. It's definitely going to help. There's a question about Bagley. Yes, I know I may have slipped out on talking about Bagley. So the part of Coastal Highway, we're going to start paving from Bagley towards Greenville up to Cloning. That's 96 kilometers. The first 50 kilometers is going to be paved. That project will start hopefully the dry season. That's dry season because the company has been finalized by the African Exim Bank and the Indian Exim Bank together. They are financing that. The company is going to be coming and doing the mobilization. So by next dry season, we'll start paving from Barclayville towards Greenville. It's going to Sasta. Sasta is where the former president comes from. A very beautiful place for tourism. Some of the best beaches in this country is in Greenville. If you go, you won't believe it. The water is shallow. You have not seen a shallow sea. The sea never looks shallow. When you go to Sasta, you see some of that. Even previously, it's like a savanna. Some of the best savanna you have in the country. So paving the roads to those places, you see how beautiful Liberia is. So we're going to pave that from Bagley to Sasta, and then from Sasta Junction to Cloning towards Greenville. So that's that. We have the gap now that the EU is looking to, together with other partners, we're looking to help to complete up to Greenville. So I didn't mention that, but it's Bagley is going to be done. Who's responsible for drainage clinics? The question was whether MCC or Public Works. I spoke about drainage clinic. And I said we have some equipment now. Our operation bureau going to start drainage cleaning around the capital. It's not MCC, it is us. We're responsible for that. Construction period. Yeah, there's conversation about how long the project takes. Now there are a lot of things that come with that. It's not just designing the project, getting the contractor. Sometimes the weather. Don't forget we have 45% almost of the foreign West Africa is here in Liberia. So rainfall is something that we will have compared to other parts of West Africa. So the balance 55% is divided among the other West African country. So that tells you the kind of rainfall that we have. We have thousands, milliliters of rain every year. So it's going to impact the construction period. However, it's not just that. Also, resource availability. Because sometimes contractors complete their work and they want to get paid. Government has other priorities. So government have to be paying others, so as money comes, they get paid. So sometimes it costs us delay. But the president raised the issue about us breaking up some of the bigger projects. So if a contractors give 100 kilometers, for example, can we have two companies to do 50 and 50? That's the kind of conversation that we're having. The president also mentioned that they want to take that into advancement once we work with our partners who fund these projects. And sometimes we'll be concerned as to whether you get a company to go settle in for 30 kilometers or 50 kilometers. But that's something that we'll look at. But we'll do everything we can to push the project faster. Demolition process. Yes, we go to the community. We take time. When you see us breaking houses down sometimes, it's a process that started almost 6, 7, 8 months ago. We don't just go one day and do it. The only demolition we do on the spot are those makeshift. You go see somebody fence, you start putting stake there, put it in there, say, come in, open a cocoa shop, we'll break it down. We give you time, we just will break it down. Okay? But people who have their homes, what are you in the alley of that? We give you time. It's a whole process. We have a process, judicial process at the Ministry of Public Works. So our legal people get involved. We use the zoning law. We give you due process. We hear you. Go in the community. If there is an alley you're blocking, you're in that vicinity, we ask everybody there for their deed. You submit your deed, we bring it to the ministry, we do a diagram on site, and then we blow it out and present it on the projector or on the screen for you to see. We show you your house, we show you all the alley there, and we show you where your house is. Now this is where your house is, and this is what the alley is on this deed, on that deed, on this deed. Or you are in the alley, we show you that you're convinced. And we take you to the process. When you're finally done, then we have a ruling. Okay, so there's a ruling that will serve you to say you are in the alley. Please move. We give you removal notice. After that whole process, you are invited. We'll put you through the due process and we'll give you removal notice. Once that notice is given, then we'll give you time. Sometimes 2 months, 3 months for you to relocate. Because of course, you gotta be human too. You can't just do it like that. Somebody been living on an alley for 30 years. They're very comfortable. We have government here in 30 years. So the president said, what kind of government here can so I've been here for 30 years? Nobody asked me questions, now they ask me questions, of course. So it's difficult to get accept, but we still give time because of the humanistic part of it, which we have to understand that. That's something we have to do. But we're not going to bend. We give time, and we still can stay. So we're not just do it as people may think. The last one is real light. Puebla Road, yes, I know that road was done a long time ago, asphalt. But because of the way people don't take care of the drainage system, people sell, the road is gone, it's not there. I sent my team there, they did an assessment, and we're looking to do it, not this year, next year. So you ask the question, the people in that community bear with us. We want to put rigid pavement, that is concrete, because it's in the market. You know, when people sell, you put drainage system there, they put it there in the drainage system, and you still think about asphalt. It does not like water sitting on it. The water sits on it and there's pressure, it has a small seep, water going there, the road gets damaged. And that is the reason why that Puebla Road like the way it is. So we're working out through this year. Next year, we'll definitely pave it with the concrete. The concrete will survive. But think about concrete, water sets on it, it gets stronger. And that's why you see some of the counties that got concrete, and that's what we're doing in the county regional pavement. Maryland, I grew up in Maryland, the concrete been there for the last 50-something years, almost 60 years. It's still there. Grand Pass and other places, you got concrete road, it works well. So we're going to put concrete roads in these different places, including that corridor that you asked about. But we have not forgotten for you. The assessment was done already, and we just need to do the preparation to intervene by next year. Thank you.
I'm on the name is Attorney Dobaki Norris Jr. So the question on the issue of fees, we cannot on this platform list the fees. The Liberia National Tourism Authority fee revenue code has been approved by the Ministry of Finance. These are all the information that will be available in the roadshow tomorrow. Again, on the website, if you go there to our website, again, the website is lnta.gov.lr. You will see our call, our numbers. You can call to get information on what fees you have to pay. But you are right, hotels, depending on their class, have a particular fee, and the guest houses have a particular fee, restaurant. So there are categories of fees depending on the kind of business you run, beaches, all of them. So those information is available on our site of our post in the time we can state. What is the purpose of tomorrow's activities? The LNTA wants as many people to know that they can now come and apply to get permit. The more people that hear the news tomorrow or get the information that we take for this platform, the more Liberians that hear it and know that yes, there's an institution we can go to get our permit, the better for us. So please, the message we're putting out there, we want as many Liberians to know that the LNTA Roadshow will be on tomorrow. There will be flyers and there will be people to give you more information on how to register your tourism business. And the processes will be there. You submit, you apply. After you apply, you submit your documents for your business. They will be reviewed. They will send inspectors to come and see your place, whether it's a hotel or motel or restaurant. And once they say it meets the compliance to operate as a tourism business, then they will bill you. You go to the LRA and pay the bill. They issue a receipt. Once we have our receipts, then based on the inspector's report, you'll be approved to get a license, and that license will be given to you. We're hoping this whole process can become digitized from end to end to lessen the burden on our people, and that's what we're trying to do. But in the meantime, that is the process. So We thank you for the question. It's good that we reiterate this as a matter of summary and closing. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
All right, the one and only question that was asked. We have not been involved in the business of publicly attempting to adjudicate the reason for the misconduct of the work. So the question you're asking for who's planning, who doing this, whether they read this or history of this instrument, I'm not sure it's for you. So we can't answer that question because it's not necessary. You cannot be having a crisis situation that you're trying to manage, that you come on a platform and try to debate, argue, what led to this, who's right, who's wrong. I mean, that's what I kind of question I'm trying to portray, and I'm not sure whether it can be appreciated. So I just want to add that we have to speak here now. The president is in my giving, where the third of the model schools have been dedicated. First two in Bon County and in Nimba as a third. I know the Ministry of Education have said they intend to expand that across the 15 political subdivisions. One other decision that I've been taking, which you may know already, but I just want to elevate it, is the fact that the National County Sports Meet, in addition to using it as an instrument for reconciliation and unity, is supposed to be used for actual sport development. And the way to do it is use it to identify upcoming talents that you can help to develop. But when you have a county meet, somebody already played for division football, you grab them. Somebody plays 7 division football, you grab them. What are you looking for again? It's the hidden talents that you're supposed to be finding. If the already playing for division football, it's not hidden. So I'm glad that Minister Crab, in by Bishop, work with the ministry they decided, and going forward in the county meet, no first and second division player participating. I think that is an excellent decision, and as a government, we think it's the right thing. Let's see the people we don't know. Go to the county, get these boys playing 4th division, 5th division. If you get anything beyond that, don't know them, you cannot see them. Let them come and take part in the county meet so we know that they exist. You bring men in Tabet, where they Eric can't be Jim Tabet play for 5 division players. Are you discovering anything? We know Jim Tabet. So, Columbia and your team, thank you. Excellent decision. Let's use the county meet to find the players we don't know. Before messing them to start playing stuff for nobody knew them. But playing way down the line, then they identify them. Ronaldo, they became the giant of the game. Yeah, I have a couple of other people. I don't like your life, I mean, you know, no question. And I'll thank them for the 7-2 touching of Newcastle.
So that's it for the press briefing here at the Ministry of Information. So the MOR press briefing was adjourned by John making right here alongside neighborhood leaders of Minister of Public Works Anthony Norris, Deputy Director General of Tourism at the Liberia National Tourism Program. So once again, for those that are looking forward, I would like to say thanks for following. Don't join us next Tuesday for another edition of MR Press this briefing. Bye for now.